So, does your workday ever feel like you're just running from one crisis to the next? You solve one problem and boom, two more pop up in its place. If you feel like you're constantly in firefighting mode, trust me, you are not alone. It's one of the biggest headaches for leaders today. But what if the secret wasn't about getting better at fighting fires, but about preventing them from ever starting? Well, the answer, surprisingly, isn't in some hot new business book. It's actually in an ancient text on strategy that has been seriously misunderstood for centuries: Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Now, I know what you might be thinking. That's a book about battlefield tactics, right? But stick with me, because we're about to uncover how its real wisdom is the perfect guide for modern leaders who want to win before the battle even begins. All right, first, let's really put our finger on the problem. We live under something called the tyranny of the urgent. It's this state of constant reaction that basically traps us and our entire organizations and keeps us from making any real progress. As executive coach Patty Cotton puts it, this firefighting mode comes with a huge price tag. Every single minute we spend on what feels urgent is a minute stolen from what's actually important, the strategic work that pushes the company forward. It feels super productive in the moment, but it's really just the illusion of progress, not the real thing. So, and this is the crucial part, this isn't just about being busy. The real problem is a systemic culture of reactivity. This kind of culture locks us into this tunnel vision, short-term focus. It leaves absolutely no room for reflection or learning, it burns everyone out with decision fatigue, and it basically starves any real strategic planning of the oxygen it needs to survive. So how in the world do we break out of this cycle? Well, to do that, we need to step off the hamster wheel and look for a different kind of wisdom, and it's one that's been hiding in plain sight for over 2,000 years. We're talking about Sun Tzu. He was a general and a strategist living in China about 2,500 years ago, during this really chaotic period known as the Age of Warring States. And he distilled everything he knew into The Art of War, a text that has somehow managed to transcend time and conflict to become an absolute classic of strategy. And the staying power of his ideas is just incredible. I mean, you've got Napoleon using his principles to conquer Europe, all the way to leaders like Margaret Thatcher and Ronald Reagan admiring his work, and then right up to today, with tech titans like Bill Gates and Larry Ellison using his ideas. Clearly, Sun Tzu tapped into something truly universal. So what is that universal lesson? Let's get right to the core of Sun Tzu's philosophy, a principle that is so profound, but man, it gets misunderstood all the time. Here it is, and it's an absolute game changer. For Sun Tzu, the supreme art of war is to win without fighting. Just let that sink in for a second. This shifts everything. The goal isn't conflict, it's strategy. It's not about winning battles, it's about creating conditions where a battle is totally unnecessary. It's all about winning early. Now, to make this idea crystal clear, there's a famous ancient Chinese story about three brothers who were all doctors. The first brother, the worst one, was famous all across the country because he could cure the most terrible illnesses, dramatic, life-saving surgeries. The second brother, the good doctor, was only known in his town. He was good at treating minor sicknesses, stopping a cough before it turned into pneumonia. But the third brother, the best doctor, he had no reputation at all. Why? Because he treated an illness before it even showed up. His patients never even knew they were sick. His victory was silence. And that just illustrates Sun Tzu's point perfectly. The greatest general, the greatest leader, is the one nobody has ever heard of because they solve problems so early and so effectively that they never turn into big, dramatic, famous battles. They win quietly, way beforehand. Okay, but this is where we have to pump the brakes and be really careful. This idea has been picked up by the business world and, frankly, completely twisted, which leads us to a critical question. Is business really war? This is the popular idea, right? The one immortalized by Gordon Gekko in the movie Wall Street. He sees the art of war as this ruthless playbook for just crushing your opponents. A zero-sum game where you either win or you get completely wiped out. But did he actually get it right? Is that really what Sun Tzu's wisdom is all about when you apply it to the modern world of business? Well, the difference is pretty stark. Warfare at its core is zero-sum. For one side to win, the other has to be annihilated. It exists beyond the law. But business, on the other hand, is supposed to be positive sum. A good deal benefits both the buyer and the seller. It's governed by laws. And while deception is a key part of war, in business, that same deception is just predatory. The marketplace isn't a battlefield.
It's a place for exchange. So to treat your customers, your partners, even your competitors like enemies that have to be destroyed isn't just bad ethics, it's just plain bad strategy. Gordon Gekko didn't just get it wrong, he completely missed the entire point.
So, if the lesson isn't about deception and destruction, what is the real art of war for today's leaders? Here it is. The deepest wisdom Sun Tzu has to offer isn't about tactics to outsmart some enemy. It's about cultivating the internal character of the leader themselves. Because a leader with the right character creates the win before a battle is even on the radar. Sun Tzu lays out 5 essential qualities, and they're basically the blueprint for proactive leadership. A great leader is wise. They don't just know stuff, they see patterns and anticipate what's coming. They are trustworthy. Their integrity creates the kind of environment where a team feels safe to take smart risks. They are benevolent, which isn't weakness. It's the strength to treat people with respect, which builds fierce loyalty. They are courageous, able to make those tough calls when they need to. And finally, they're strict. Not a tyrant, but someone who embodies discipline and maintains high standards for everybody, starting with themselves. And this is the true antidote to that culture of reactivity we started with. See, a wise and trustworthy leader doesn't have to constantly put out fires because they've built a resilient, proactive organization in the first place. A benevolent and courageous leader inspires their team to solve problems before they blow up. This is how you win without fighting. So let's bring this all back home. What does this ancient wisdom mean for you, right here, right now, in your role? The question you have to ask yourself is this. Is your leadership creating a team of glorified firefighters who are always getting praised for their dramatic, last-minute saves? Or are you cultivating the quiet, profound excellence of a team that wins long before the battle ever begins? Are you the famous doctor, or are you the one whose real genius is that no one ever needs to know your name?